This video is about changing the Speedo cable. This is a Stella. The bolt that holds the shock, you loosen the bottom one, and the cable comes loose. The Speedo cable. Just loosen it. If there's anything sticking in there, go in there with a flathead screwdriver and move that plate around that's in there, and it'll loosen the plate that's pressing on a rubber with a hole in it, that squeezes the hole and that makes the passage more narrow, that grabs onto the cable. Once that is loosened, you just pull it out. There it is. There's a protector sleeve on it, just slide it off. There you go. There it is on the ground. Now, I loosened the 4 bolts already that hold the top of the headlight head over here of the steering, right? And see how it's loose? But if you want to push it all the way up, what you do is you come down here and you push up on the cable, and there's a hole up in there, and you push the cable into the hole, and see it move. It's moving up and it's out. It even falls back on its own. Then up here there is a nut. See it there? You pull the cable up. Yeah, this cable's in bad shape. It's already breaking over here, near the top, right here. But see right here, and you just loosen that. And I think I tightened it a little. What you do when you tighten it hand tight, and then you tighten it just a little more with a plier, a little more than hand tight. Drop more, and that's it. Don't go and it should be on there really well, like it is now. So I'll stop now and I'll loosen that. Right there it is. There's the nut, the part you screw on right there. There's the cable. You can just pull the cable out. See? It just comes right out. There it is. There's the cable. I'm going to drop it down on the ground. See it? Alright. I'm going to grease up the next one. Put some grease inside of it with a dab of oil also. And I'm going to put the cable into it. Alright? Alright, you see the 2 holes there? The top, those 2 holes are, one is for the brake and one is for the Speedo cable. This bike has disc brakes, so it doesn't use both holes, so it only uses one of the holes. So that's why there's 2. Now, take the cable and see how well it goes into the hole there. If it's jammed up or if it goes in smooth. Now this one goes in pretty smooth, you know. The top hole is the one for the Speedo. There it goes. It goes in really easy. Now, if it jams up and it's tight in there, see on some P200s they'll be a little rusty, you know. So what you do is you go in there with this little round file like this. Try to get a set of files. You should have one anyway. These small sets like this come in handy, you know. You get one pretty cheap. They don't have to be the best because it depends how often you use it. If you use it a lot, you want the best. If you use it occasionally, like I do, no, medium grade one's good. So you just get it and you file out the hole a little bit. Clean out all the rust. Clean it out, and that metal's really thick. So when you get to you can on an angle you can take off the edge in there. You know, bevel it a bit. Right, ground that out so that when you try to pull the cable through, it'll come in too smooth. Okay, that's one tip. Not a big tip. Now this is how you guide the outer cable through the hole. Now this is the Speedo cable. See it? Now you jam it into the hole. See that hole up there? You put it in backwards so that the bottom goes upward. Because the other side you can't get in there. And that will guide the cable down through the hole. Otherwise, there's no way you'll get it through there. I mean, I'm sure there's other things you could use to guide it with, but this is how, if you do this all the time, this is how you do it. There you go. I mean, you know, for other people and stuff, you know. So, you push it up, see? Oh, sorry, I'm here by myself. I wish I had someone to help me film, but okay. So now, see how it has that block end? You just push it all the way in, and it will pop out the top. See it right here? Here's the outer. I'm gonna try to do this by myself. Okay, here's the cable, and see it? Put it in the outer. There you go. Slide it down. Hold on, it's gonna be a little messy here. Slide it down into the hole. See? Now, what I'll do is I'll push the other end up so it goes into it more. Alright. Now I'll push it till it hits the hole. Okay? This is the little trick, really. You push it. Hold on. I'm going to have to stop the camera for a moment. Just give me a minute. Now, this is probably the most annoying part for most people. Trying to get this cable through that little hole from the top. This is used to line it up. When it hits the hole, it tends to push down on the hole because of the angle it's coming down at. So what you do is as you press the top down into it, you lift this up, and the bottom edge will come into the hole and it'll pop through. You got to lift. Just put your finger all the way up against the metal and lift up and press and wiggle and shake, and it'll pop through. And that's the trick, really, that you need to know. I don't say it's a trick, it's a technique. That's it. And that's probably the hardest part of the whole thing right there. Okay? And that's why it's important to clean out that hole, maybe bevel it a little bit on an angle, especially older ones that are rusty and there's a little pileup of rust over there or whatever, or a little, you know what I mean, and a little gunk and grime. Once that hole, and you could even grind it a little bigger, the hole, if it's annoying. Like, just file it a little bigger if you have to, and give it a little angle if it's really annoying. The steel there is really thick, so a little bigger hole isn't going to kill it. Okay, so that's it. It's through, and we'll get to the next part. Now you take the cable, pull it out, put it into the groove in here perfectly. It's square cut, see? Oh, moved. There. To make sure it's in there. And then put this over it and turn it on. And just turn it hand tight. And then just a drop more with the plier so it doesn't fall off. That's all. Alright, and then just close it. Okay, I'll stop here for a minute. Alright, I already tightened it. I tightened it hand tight, then just like a little less than a quarter turn more, just to get a little extra tightness on it. Now, this is off topic. I'm just going to jump to something while I'm here and I see it. A lot of Stellas had electrical issues, and one of the reasons was because the cables, these cables that run into the shifter for this electrical switches, which is, high beam, low beam, and horn, right here, these wires would stretch when you shift. See how this moves? And when you got it into either fourth or first, it would pull the cables constantly until they broke the cables or shorted the cables or shorted them in the switch. It caused all kinds of electrical issues. Sometimes it would short out, and only once in a while, and it's hard to figure out what was going on. And that's why on a lot of the Stellas, the earlier Stellas, that's the earlier Stellas problem, I had to extend these cables. See them? See how there's all wrapped up here? So these cables were all extended, and that fixed the issue. But a lot of problems. This issue was such a headache. It's really what caused a lot of. This is just one of the issues that caused people to sell the bikes, get rid of them. Because this was a headache, and they're not always easy to find electrical issues. You have to find them all scraped up and stretched out in here somewhere. All right. Okay, the Stella, the rubber hole grabs onto this metal piece. See it? It has to be exposed because the hole isn't this wide. It's as wide as the metal. So you slide it in, and it grabs right onto it when you tighten the bolt. Okay. This cover that goes over the tube, I think it's more to keep it from getting a sharp bend. It's thick, kind of keeps it. because you don't want this to bend all at once and go in, because it'll break the cable slowly. You want a nice smooth turn here, you know. And another thing is that sometimes I put a tie right here just to keep it from hitting the cable from hitting the wheel. See, it holds it away from the wheel a little bit, just to make sure, you know, because I've had it where it's rubbed off the cover from rubbing on the wheels. So it's just a little, and you don't put it on too tight, just enough to keep it from going over that way, okay? You don't want to crank that tight at all, okay? Just kind of, but you know what I mean. And that's it. I tested it. I spun the wheel with my hand. The speedometer moves. It's all in. It's all buttoned up. It's all together. And that's it. There's the little tip really was just getting the cable through this hole. There's some tiny little tips here and there. It's nice to know them. Most of them are obvious, I know, but hey, I figure I'll let you know anyway. Alright, take care. Bye. Alright, one last thing. A lot of the new cables, they're Teflon coated, so they don't need oil or grease in them or anything. Sometimes if you grease them, it just doesn't really help anything. The Teflon coating lasts a long time, and it's sometimes better. There might be a lubricant you put in there. I'm not quite sure what I would put in. Maybe I don't know, maybe white grease. I'm not sure. But all the new cables now, if you buy new cables, there's a good chance they're all Teflon coated, and they don't really need much lubricant. Okay, take care, everyone.